Welcome to the Ignite Podcast, the only healthcare marketing podcast that digs into the digital strategies and tactics that help you accelerate growth. Each week, Cardinals experts explore innovative ways to build your digital presence and attract more patients. Buckle up for another episode of Ignite.
What's going on, everybody? Coming to you from ATL. We do not call it Hotlanta. This is Alex Membrillo, CEO of Cardinal Digital Marketing. I've got Lauren Leone, our SVP of Client Services. What's up, Lauren?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good because COVID sucked for the world. We're still in it. However, it has forced a lot of practices to look at their patient pipeline differently. Tell us what you've noticed.
Yeah, I've noticed this. It's across all verticals. I've seen it in senior care. We've seen it in pharma. I mean, there's this traditional concept of building a network with other providers and referring amongst each other, or having field teams that spend most of their time, knocking on doors, meeting providers, going into hospitals and acquiring patients that way. And that's great. I'm, not suggesting that organizations should stop doing that, but when you couldn't go into a facility or you couldn't get on the phone with a provider because their practice was shut down, where were your patients going to come from if that was your only pipeline? So diversify. Really, we see a lot of companies coming to us and saying, I've never had a direct-to-consumer campaign. I've been too reliant on referrals, and I really need to take control of my own destiny. What can I do to build up my own pipeline?
We've been telling everybody for years they've got to build their own pipeline. You just talked about it. Too much coming from inconsistent referral sources, especially when you can't see them face to face. COVID's going to be here for a long time, and I think the implications are going to last forever. How do practices build their own referral pipeline, and how do they do it quickly?
Yeah, I mean, think about how have you been positioning yourself to these other providers? What is your unique selling point? And then where are your patients spending their time? Marry those things together, saying the right thing to the right person. So the USP is something you can sit down probably in one session within your practice, maybe a marketing specialist, and understand, what people want to hear from you, whether it's convenience, hours of operation, bedside manner, outcomes. Just think about what really sets you apart. You probably have the stories because you've been telling the providers this, that, you're referring physicians this for years and years. And then, think about if your patients are, searching for providers, if they are, doing a lot of research before they make decisions, and then what channels help you best reach them at that point.
Okay, let's talk about channels. What is the quickest way to increase patient volume for your typical consumer healthcare, dental, orthodontic, dermatology, spine? What's the quickest way to get my patient volume back up?
Yeah, start at the bottom of the funnel. And, the very, very bottom is where you have search organically and search paid, people searching for keywords that have an intent that shows what they're looking for. Organic is a little bit harder to spin up. As we know, it takes a while to build authority with the engines. So what you can do in the meantime is set up a paid search campaign for your top keywords and make sure that you are visible. If you have a small budget to start, pick a couple zip codes, pick a small area where you want to acquire patients. Don't spread yourself too thin by doing a whole city, a whole state. Just go into one community and try to own that community in paid search.
Yeah. Do you need a landing page for every paid search campaign?
You don't. If you have a site that has the information that the patient needs to find, a very clear call to action, loads well on mobile. If you do not have those things, do not spend money on paid search until you have solved those things.
Estimate per location how much they should budget for PPC ads?
Really varied. I mean, there are industries like orthodontics where clicks are very expensive. And then there's, maybe industries like therapy or psychology where there's just so much volume out there that it's not, as expensive. So I would suggest, you need to have probably at least $1,000 a month if you have, a couple zip codes that you want to be in. But get with whoever you're working with for marketing. run a few keyword searches, just understand the cost per clicks, and then you can put together a better estimate.
And if you want to save, if you really want to do low budget, go to Upwork and find a contractor. Type in PPC contract. You don't need a full-blown agency. You don't need a full-blown marketing company. If you guys want to get going, you need increased patient volume. Have your practice admins don't like to do it, not trained in it, but they can go to Upwork and find a good search contractor if you can't work with an agency quite yet. So you don't have to go full out to do this, guys. If you're one of the 3 or 4 providers in your local area, driving the traffic to a decent website will be enough. You don't have to get very sophisticated with it. Okay, so we got search campaigns running. What is the best long-term tactical vehicle to increase patient volume?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about search. Most patients are still going to ultimately go to search at the end of the day. Maybe they've done some research on, best dentist near me, but they're ultimately going to go search that. And so, maybe 30-40% of people are going to click an ad. The remaining 60 to 70% are going to click an organic result. That could be a map result. That could be an organic listing. That could be a people also ask question and answer format. Make sure that you are working on building a presence to be there for the people that don't click on ads. And that may take you 12 months, but if you don't start it now, you're just 12 months behind when you do eventually start it.
Only takes 6 months, with Cardinal. Yeah, and it's not something you just turn off, guys. Don't turn your search campaigns off. Don't turn your SEO off. This is a never-ending thing. You want to grow your practice. You want more patients for your providers. Then you're going to want more providers. Then you're going to want more locations. It never ends. Don't run a lifestyle business. It's boring. It's boring. All right, guys. We want you growing. All right, Lauren, what else? In closing, what would you say is most important to make sure pipeline is solid?
Diversify your strategies. I mean, we just talked about search, and that's great. And at some point, your search is going to get really competitive. There may be hundreds of practices in your area bidding on the same keywords. Where do you go from there, right? So if you only build it on search and you don't start exploring different channels, you don't start exploring display or social media advertising or video campaigns, then eventually you're going to kind of get stagnant and not be able to grow beyond the capacity of any given channel. So what we like to do is kind of start at the bottom of the funnel, optimize a channel, and then move on to the next. The optimized channel becomes part of your evergreen campaign. It's the foundation, but you're never staying still. You're always testing.
That's right. Always testing. Don't rely on any one patient source. Like any business that's reliant on any one source of leads and new business, it's a very dangerous game to play. So now's the time, and you can do things slow. You can do things slowly, you can do them quickly, and you can do them on your own without full-blown agencies, guys. You got to get into digital marketing. If you ever need a consult, go to Upwork, find Cardinal, find a healthcare marketing agency, whatever it is. But I want to get you unreliant so your practice is not going down if you can't visit the hospitals, if your providers, your PCPs aren't sending you referrals. Lauren, thank you for joining us on Ignite.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Ignite. Interested in keeping up with the latest trends in healthcare marketing? Subscribe to our podcast and leave a rating and review. For more healthcare marketing tips, visit our blog at cardinaldigitalmarketing.com.